It's a monster week in the NFL finale, Week 17, as we can win $100,000. Hey, what's going on there, everybody? That's right, you heard it, NFL Week 17. And thanks to our friends over on the Fox Bet Super 6 app, we can win $100,000. You guys know how this game goes by now. All you got to do is correctly predict all 6 games that they'll give you not only a winner, but you got to give them a win margin as well. If you can do that, you can take home that $100,000 prize. If nobody can do that, we'll all compete for a guaranteed $1,000 prize to whoever can get the most points. It's 3 points if you can get the winner right, and an additional 2 points if you can get that win margin right. You guys know how normally on these videos I hit you with all the, against the spread records and break it down between favorites and underdogs. Week 17 is funny. I mean, it's just a real funny week in the NFL in terms of guys looking towards vacation, other teams, having different priorities with resting and what have you. So if it's not a matchup where it really matters, I just didn't even bother looking up the against the spread records because it's funny. I mean, the NFL's week 17 is funny. I mean, last year there was a 32-point win margin, a 31-point win margin, and 2 18-point win margins. So just an unheard amount of blowouts. A quarter of the NFL had absolute blowouts last year in Week 17. So it's a little bit unpredictability. We'll break it down as best as we can and see if we can't win the money. This will probably be one of our last chances to do this. I do think Fox Bet Super 6 app, though, will give us either $10,000 or $25,000 contest for each playoff game that is going to be aired on Fox Network. So just make sure you come back for those contests because I definitely see them doing that. But this is definitely our last chance to win the $100,000 NFL Weekly Sunday Challenge. So with that being said, let's jump on into it, though, and let's win that money, baby. All right, so the first game here is Cowboys versus Giants. The line is currently right now Cowboys -2. Cowboys against the spread are 5-10 against the spread, and 1-5 as favorites. They do have 3 wins though in those 6 games as favorites. The Giants are 8-7 against the spread and 8-5 as dogs. And in their 13 games where they were dogs, they only have 3 wins in those 13 opportunities. So what does it mean? It means that the Cowboys are probably going to win the game, but the Giants have a better chance to cover the spread. If we break it down, it comes down to me the Cowboys' run defense. They're still having issues stopping the run. If they can't get that, fixed, it comes down to, do they lose? Are they able to win? Or they could get handed to them. And the Giants have a pretty good rushing attack. They've got a dual threat quarterback in Jones. He's obviously been hobbled the last couple of weeks due to injuries, and he's not running as much, but they could still run it, really well there with Wayne Gallum. So if the Cowboys can't, settle their run issues to some degree, they may actually lose this game. I'm going to think that with just one game, maybe they can put in a good performance with, playoffs on the line. I do know that the playoffs are on the line for the Giants, but I just think if the Cowboys' run defense can be fixed, the Cowboys have the more explosive and better talented offense where they can eventually win this game. So with that being said, I do have the Cowboys winning this game, and I've got them winning it by 4 to 6 points in a very close divisional matchup. All right, the next one we got here is Falcons and Bucks. This is one where didn't bother looking up the spreads. It's funny with the Falcons playing with the Bucks. They're playing for the 5 seed or the 6 seed. With the 5 seed to go up against the NFC East champ, so that's maybe a little bit of incentive there to win this game and go ahead and lock up the 5 seed. But the thing that worries me here with the Buccaneers is we saw it with Bruce Arians last week. He chose rest and health over his players over playing, in that game against the Lions in that second half. I know that game was a blowout, but still, Tom Brady came out of that game. Leonard Fournette came out of that game. Other key members on offense and defense came out of that game at halftime. So that just worries me. I could see, the same thing kind of happen this week, regardless of the score, because I don't think getting the 5 seeds all that really important. I mean, it'd be nice to go up against one of the NFC East champions, but it's not a must-have. I think Bruce Arians, what he has shown us is he will prioritize the health and rest, of his players. So with that being said, I think the Falcons have enough offense where they're going to play this game, and I think they can take advantage of them offensively. They got some playmakers on that side of the ball. I do know there's no Julio Jones, but they'll make up for it. Calvin Ridley has been a really stud this season, so it's tough for me to come down to the win margin though, because you don't know maybe when possibly the Buccaneers stars will exit, and that's what makes it tough. I do believe they'll exit, but when will they exit? I don't know. Go ahead and give me a Falcons win, and I'll say they'll win this game by 4 to 6. Next game we got here is Vikings versus Lions, a complete toss-up. This is one of those Week 17 toss-ups. Lions, I mean, they've just been shitty over the last few weeks. I don't even think they've got Stafford, or if they do have Stafford, I mean, you saw how long he lasted against the Buccaneers. So even if he plays, I wouldn't put much stock in him playing all 4 quarters. He just couldn't do it last week. We've seen Chase Daniels. He scares me not. I mean, Chase Daniels does not scare me the slightest, so I wouldn't worry about that. For the Vikings, though, they've got some they got some motivation to keep it clicking. Dalvin Cook wants to win the rushing title. Their stud wide receiver Jefferson, he wants to keep putting up monster numbers. Maybe he can be rookie of the year over Herbert. I doubt it. You know how the league favors quarterbacks, but yeah, I think offensively the Vikings will be motivated, at least for a couple of their stars, to pad their stats and get them going. So with that being said, win margins are crazy in the NFL Week 17. I'm going to say the Vikings win this game and they're going to blow them out. They're going to win it by 15 to 21 points. Next matchup we got here is Dolphins and Bills, and this one comes down to more kind of the same scenarios we were talking about the Buccaneers rest. What are the Bills going to do? They want that 2 seed, but do they want it at the cost of maybe getting a star injured, a Josh Allen, a Stephon Diggs, or a Tremaine Edmonds? We saw NFL last season, Week 17, the Bills didn't play any of their guys after the first 2 drives. So 2 drives and the stars were out of that game. Maybe that's something they do this year. For the Dolphins, we know it's no Ryan Fitzpatrick, so you're getting 2 of the entire game. That scares me a little bit if I'm a Dolphins backer, because the Bills defense does have a really good secondary scheme-wise too. I mean, obviously the players, the starters are phenomenal, but the scheme-wise they run is also really, really good. So Tua, I think that's a tough matchup for him going up against this Bills secondary. And then for the Bills, though, look at their passing situation. If they turn to Matt Barkley, he's got a really tough matchup. And the Dolphins secondary is really good. They pick off passes during every single game. So I wouldn't like that if I'm a Bills backer either. If Matt Barkley plays any significant amount of time in this game, he will probably lose it. So Dolphins need this game. I expect the Bills probably to rest their players if I had to, lean on one side or another. You guys know that, I'm also a writer over at, BuffaloDown.com. I actually wrote an article this week predicting the snap count. I'll go ahead and drop the link to that article in this video description, so you can check out that article if you're really interested. So, but I see the Bills resting some players. Dolphins got to have it. Give me a Dolphins 7-9 win. I think they can pull out a touchdown victory here. So Dolphins 7-9. Next game we got here is Steelers versus Browns. Look, the Browns need this game. I mean, the Browns need this game, and they're going to be awfully pissed after last week. They went in that game with no receivers. With practice squad guys. They end up losing that game to the Jets, where, this whole week people have been talking bad about the Browns, and, because it's the Jets, and we know how bad the Jets are. So the Browns are pissed. They didn't lock up the playoffs last weekend. They didn't get to play with their stars. They took a loss. I think they're just going to absolutely kill the Steelers this week. You got Ben Roethlisberger. He's obviously going to be arrested. Don't kid yourself. We've only heard Mike Tomlin mention Ben Roethlisberger and getting rest, but I think it's going to be a lot of other guys. I mean, you're not only resting Ben Roethlisberger as well. If you lose T.J. Watt, you're screwed. You're not advancing far in the playoffs. If you lose, Minkah Fitzpatrick, you're not going very far in the playoffs. So publicly, he's really only announced Ben Roethlisberger is going to get the rest, but you better believe it. It's going to be more stars than Ben Roethlisberger getting the rest. So Browns got to have it. 8.5 minus line is what it is right now. I think the Browns take care of business here. Give me Browns win the game by 10 to 14 points. And then the last matchup they give us here is Packers and Bears. Going to look fascinating in this game. You guys know I live in Chicago. I'm not a Bears fan, but it's hard to live here and not be a Bears fan, you know what I mean, per se. So I'm definitely kind of excited for this game. I do have the stats for this one because I think it matters for both of these teams. For the Packers, they're 9-6 against the spread, 7-5 as favorites. They've got 10 wins the 12 times that they've been favorites this season. For the Bears, they're 8-7 against the spread, 7-5 as dogs, and of their 12 underdog games, they've gotten 6 wins in those 12 games. What does it mean? I think it means Packers win and cover. The cover of the spread's a little bit of a toss-up, but I do think it's Packers win, and the Packers maybe get a slight edge there to cover that spread. If we break it down, for the Bears, they can't rely on the Rams. They just can't do it. They need to take care of business. They need to win this game. Don't put your destiny, in another team's hand. They just got to do it here. The Packers, obviously, I think they value the number 1 seed. I think they value the playoffs going through Lambeau Field, cold, snowy. Obviously get that week off so you can rest up. So I do think they'll be playing this game to win it. There won't be, they won't let off the gas late in that game. No, it's to me, it's going ahead and win this game. We do know the Packers won this game earlier on the season. It was 41-25. That was on Sunday Night Football over on Week 11. But the thing about that game is the Bears offense was struggling back then. I mean, that was a really bad Bears offense. It's, one of the better in the leagues right now. If you just look at, the last 2 to 3 games, David Montgomery is, yards from scrimmage is up near the top in the entire league. So definitely a better Bears offense. And defensively for the Bears, they got a gift. I mean, David Bakhtiari tore his ACL in practice the other day. The star, left tackle there for the Packers. I mean, that's it. So now you got, I don't know who their backup is, but you got a backup as opposed to an all-pro going up against Khalil Mack. That's recipe for disaster. The Bears and Khalil Mack should absolutely win that matchup. Does the Bakhtiari injury now scare the head coach there, Matt LaFleur, and maybe is he going to rest starters maybe late in the game? I'm not sure. I do see the Packers being able to outscore the Bears offense. So I think whatever the Bears offense can do, as long as the Packers starters play, long into this game and a significant amount of time, I think the Packers can put up more points. So I've got the Packers winning this game. It's going to be an awfully close one. I've got Packers winning this game by 4-6. All right, guys, that's how I'm going to round out my chances for NFL Week 17 and a chance to win $100,000 on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Again, guys, check back. I know we're going to get the playoff matchups there for $10,000, possibly even $25,000. Any game that is on Fox during these playoffs, they're going to keep giving us this matchup. And then you guys know there's always tons of other free games on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. So with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next contest.
Thanks for watching this episode of Winning Bets. I'm Jason Mattis. I'll see you again when we are celebrating the wins and making more winning bets. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more winning bets.